definitely had our opportunities late, and then a few different miscues, and it's back to a 2-possession game, and we couldn't quite get over the hump there.
A couple of defensive situations that we're gonna, go back and be probably really upset about. But I mean, these guys, they battled, and these guys, they're a great team. Connecticut is a great team.
Good little taste of, what's possible for this organization and for this franchise, and there's a lot for us to, hold our heads high about.
We're all competitors in that locker room, and so it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good to leave here and not have the opportunity to get another one.
Free throws, 23 for the Sun, only 9 for the Fever. That's not a typo. That's a game-changing difference. How did this massive free throw gap impact the game? And were the refs really calling it fair? Let's talk about how this affected the game. Imagine this. Every time the Sun got to the line, it was like free points. They're racking up easy baskets while the Fever are struggling to get calls. That's insane. It totally messed with the game's flow and probably cost the Fever big time. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. But you know what's crazier? Even with the refs seemingly working against them, Caitlin Clark put on a show. We're gonna dive into her incredible performance in a sec. But first, let me ask you this. How did Clark manage to shine with these odds stacked against her? You won't believe what she pulled off. All right, let's talk about Caitlin Clark's performance. You think 25 points is impressive? Wait till you hear about the assists and rebounds that had everyone's jaws on the floor. Clark didn't just shine, she blazed. But here's the kicker. While her offense was on fire, her defense was ice cold.
Proud of these guys for how we played on Sunday, and they took from that and really did what we asked them to do tonight and gave ourselves a chance to win.
I feel like taking some time to myself and really enjoying that and reflecting back, and it was special. There was a lot of things that this group accomplished.
I mean, these guys never were in a position that we couldn't win this game. We were right, whatever it was at half, and we just kind of kept, it was like an engine. We just kind of kept getting better as the game went on.
How did she manage to light up the scoreboard while struggling on the other end? Picture this. Clark's weaving through defenders, dishing out passes like a magician. She racked up 9 assists, setting up her teammates for easy buckets. And when she wasn't passing, she was snagging rebounds left and right, grabbing 6 in total. It was like watching a one-woman show out there, but it wasn't just about the numbers. Clark's leadership was on full display. You could see it in the way she moved on the court, always communicating with her teammates. After the game, she dropped this gem. I trust my teammates. That means my teammates scored off of 13 of my passes. That's the kind of attitude that wins championships, folks. Here's where things get interesting. While Clark was lighting it up on offense, she was struggling on the other end of the court. Get this, she's ranked 126th out of 140 players in defensive metrics. That's not great for a rookie trying to make her mark in the league. It's like she's playing 2 different games at once. But don't think for a second that this is slowing Clark down. She's making history left and right. Did you know she's only the 3rd WNBA player ever to score over 100 points, grab 30 rebounds, and dish out 30 assists in her first 6 games? That's elite company right there. And the fans, they can't get enough.
We're a young group, a pretty inexperienced group, but we came together and I had a lot of fun playing with one another, and that's sometimes the worst part of it is you feel like you're really playing your best basketball and then it has to end.
I mean, everything that we talked about that we knew would help us be successful tonight, we did that. I don't even think we made an adjustment at halftime. We watched a couple situations that we knew we could be better at.
It'll definitely be probably a little weird for me over the course of the first couple weeks, and then I'm sure I'll get bored and pick up a basketball again. So
yeah, it's kind of the advice that I've been given all year, just with the sold out arenas that we've been playing in, and the way these guys have just kept growing. They've just kept growing into being where we are right now.
Home ticket sales for the Fever's first 5 games have already blown past last season's total. People are flocking to see Clark work her magic on the court. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Clark's been feeling the pressure late in games. She mentioned that sometimes the ball got really stuck, limiting her scoring opportunities. It's like the defense suddenly remembers, oh yeah, we should probably guard that Clark girl. And let's not forget the media circus. Every move Clark makes is under the microscope. It's like she's playing with a spotlight on her 24/7. That's a lot for any rookie to handle, let alone one carrying the hopes of a franchise on her shoulders. While Clark battles on the court, Another fight is brewing off it. Ever seen a coach get so fired up they earned a technical foul? That's exactly what happened to Christy Sides, but the reason behind it will make your jaw drop. Picture this. Caitlin Clark's driving to the hoop, and bam! She gets hit hard. No whistle. The crowd's going wild, and Coach Sides? She's losing it. She's yelling at the refs, pointing at Clark, and next thing you know, she's got herself a technical foul. Why? Because she couldn't stand seeing her star player getting roughed up without a call. This isn't just a one-time thing. Clark's been facing some seriously physical play all season. It's gotten so bad that even UConn's legendary coach, Gino Auriemma, had to speak up. He said Clark's being targeted and beat up in games. That's pretty intense, right? But here's where it gets really juicy. After the game, Coach Sides didn't hold back. She straight up called out the refs, saying, "We've just got to get better with the officiating. We've got to get some of those calls." She's basically saying the refs are playing favorites, and she's not having it. Now, you'd think Clark and Sides would be totally in sync after all this, right? Wrong. There's been some serious tension between them, especially when it comes to late game plays. In one game against the Sky, Clark was so frustrated with Sides calls that she was rolling her shoulders and throwing up her hands. Talk about drama! And it's not just about the refs. Coach Sides is dealing with some major team issues too. After a big loss, she called out the whole team's mental toughness. She said, "If somebody keeps punching you, you've got to be able to respond to it." Ouch. That's gotta sting. Clark's not making it easy on herself either. She's been getting into it with the refs a lot, picking up techs and getting more frustrated by the game. Coach Sides even had to step in and tell her to focus on playing instead of arguing. It's like watching a pressure cooker about to explode. Clark's individual brilliance shines bright, but it's casting a long shadow over some serious team issues. What if I told you the Fever's problems go way beyond one player's frustrations? Brace yourself for some eye-opening stats that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about this team. Let's break it down. The Fever are sitting at 310 right now. Ouch. But here's the kicker. It's not just about Clark. This team is struggling all over the place. Check this out. They're allowing nearly 90 points per game. That's the most in the league. It's like they're running a charity, handing out points left and right. And don't even get me started on their defense. They've got a defensive rating of 111.7, which is dead last in the league. It's like they're playing hot potato with the ball, except they're the only ones getting burned. But wait, there's more. The Fever's schedule is brutal. They've played 11 games in just 20 days. That's the most compact opening schedule since 2007. Can you imagine trying to build team chemistry when you're barely catching your breath between games? It's like trying to learn a new language while running a marathon. And practice time? Forget about it. Clark even said, "Chemistry hasn't been there, so hopefully we'll continue to grow our connection a little bit better." It's like they're trying to build a house without any blueprints. Now, let's talk about bench depth, or should I say lack of bench depth. In one of their recent games, the Fever's bench only put up 18 points. Meanwhile, their opponents' benches are out there looking like the second coming of the Dream Team. Coach Christy Sides is feeling the heat too. She's worried about the team's mental toughness. She said, "If somebody keeps punching you, you've got to be able to respond to it. It's like they're in a boxing match, but they forgot their gloves." But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite all these struggles, Clark is still putting up insane numbers. It's like watching a magician perform in the middle of a tornado. Her skills are even more impressive when you consider the chaos around her. And get this, even with all these issues, Clark's star power is real. Home ticket sales for the Fever have already surpassed last season's total. People are showing up in droves to see Clark work her magic, even if the team's struggling. All right, let's wrap this up. Caitlin Clark's been on fire, dropping 25 points and dishing out assists like it's nothing. But man, those refs aren't making it easy. The free throw gap was insane. 23 for the Sun, only 9 for the Fever. That's tough to overcome. And it's not just Clark versus the refs. The whole Fever team is struggling. They're sitting at 310, letting in points like a leaky faucet. Coach Sides is trying to keep it together, but you can see the frustration. But here's the thing, Clark's still shining. Even with all this chaos, she's making history. It's like watching a diamond form under pressure. You know what they say, stars can't shine without darkness. And Clark, she's turning into a supernova right before our eyes. Keep watching, folks. This season's just getting started.